Hey folks, today is October 21st, 2020, and it has been exactly 14 days since my lumbar microdiscectomy surgery. So in this video I'd like to give you some update and just let you know what happened since my last video. So first of all, today I feel good. I don't have any pain in my back or my leg. I have been walking. I just made about a mile, roughly a kilometer and a half. Walked and slowly, no issues there. Um, so what I'd like to talk about today is what happened as of day 5 and after. Um, so if you remember, I made a video earlier. I think that may have been day 5, but basically I'll start with day 5. So what I mentioned in day 5 is that occasionally I experienced a extremely sharp instantaneous pain down my left leg, which lasted for a few seconds, but it was extremely painful, almost 10 on scale, up to 10. That happened, that began happening on day 5, and it happened mostly in the morning after I got out of bed and walked to the bathroom and stuff. So for whatever reason, it was primarily in the morning, and it began on day 5 and continued on day 6, day 7. So on day 6, I felt not one but more like 3 such instantaneous stabs that basically when it happens it completely freezes you up. If there's something next to you, you better hold tight, or otherwise you could collapse. I ended up always holding something that was next to me. So I experienced 3 of those, went to the bed. I was feeling good, and then on day 7 I went to the bathroom in the morning, and on my way back I walked slowly, and I felt another one of those stabs, very very strong, very painful. Went straight to the bed. I was hoping about an hour later things would improve, but unfortunately they didn't. I was no longer able to get out of bed. I tried twice getting out of bed, but I couldn't. Every time I attempted to get out of bed, I would experience another one of those stabs, and it was painful. So I called my doctor and explained the situation, and he said that the nerve, the sciatic nerve, must have inflamed, and that it should go away. And he prescribed a steroid anti-inflammatory drug, as basically a little sheet of tablets. You take 6 of them the first day, 5 the second day, 4 day after, and so on and so forth until you get to 0. So that was only supposed to last for 6 days. So on day 7 I began taking those little tablets in the morning, and by the end of the day I consumed all 6 of them. So those were steroid tablets, anti-inflammatories. So the next day, so that same day, day 7, I stayed in the bed all day long. I couldn't get up. I basically stayed in bed. And then the next day in the morning, which was Thursday, I expected day 8 that because I had already taken so many of those little tablets, that they should have already taken, the inflammation should have be reduced, and I should have been able to get up. But instead, it actually got worse. I stayed on my back again throughout the day 7 and overnight. That was the only position that was comfortable enough where I did not feel any pain. So on day 8, the things started getting pretty pretty intense. Um, it felt like I had no place to go. On day 8, the pain was there no matter what I did. I could not turn in bed, I could not get up, I could not do anything other than just simply lay on my back without any motion. Okay? So I called my doctor again. It was about 6:30 in the morning. He called me back after some time. And again, I explained to him what the situation is. And as we were talking, I got another one of those stabs. I attempted to move my right leg. I think I attempted to bend the knee or something, and it just stabbed me, And luckily, it goes away after about 3-4 seconds, but there's a little bit of that residual pain that remains, and it hurts a little bit, So then the doctor said, well, if it's that bad, then you better call the ambulance and come to the hospital, and let's see what we can do. And that's exactly what I did. So I called the ambulance, and actually 2 ambulance vehicles came over, 4 technicians total, and they literally dragged me out of my bed on a bed sheet. So I could not get up, I could not move. They just simply put me on a bed sheet, and they dragged me out of the house and then put me on a stretcher. So from there, they took me to the hospital, to ER, and I was almost paralyzed to the point where, yes, you could move move, but every movement caused this excruciating pain. So over in ER, they gave me the IV. They gave me additional medications, and they gave me also the anti-inflammatory drugs through IV, something directly to your bloodstream. And for the remainder of that day, I actually, believe it or not, after arriving around 8 o'clock in the morning, I stayed in ER until 9:30 in the evening. Okay, so between 8 o'clock and about 3 o'clock, they came in, technicians and nurses. They came in and they wanted to help me to get up, but every time I tried, I just felt that strong pain, and I couldn't get up. And then finally, I just gave up. I figured that there's something's wrong. There's just something wrong. And then they finally realized that they were not going to be able to send me home that day. So they said, well, I suppose we're going to have to admit you, but before we can do that, we're going to have to do a COVID test. Unfortunately, before nowadays they admit you to hospital, they need to do COVID test, and to get, you have to wait for at least 6 hours for these expedited test results to come in. So around 6 o'clock that evening, finally 2 physical therapists came to my room. The doctor sent them, and after some encouragement, they managed to talk me into to just try, to move on, to give it a try and see what happens. And that's exactly what I did with their help, and I have no word to describe. I was so thankful to these guys. It's unbelievable, because I spent nearly 36 hours laying on my back non-stop. Basically, I stayed on my back the whole time. And these guys came in, and then they slowly and gradually, millimeter by millimeter, moved my legs left and right, up and down. Bent my knees slowly. It was kind of painful, but not in the same way that when you get this stabbing pain. It was just mostly, I suppose, from laying down. So these guys helped me actually not only move my legs, but also they helped me to sit on the side of the stretcher, and it was painful. I ended up sitting by the bed for maybe 10 minutes or so, and then from there they said you have to they said you have to stand up. So they brought this walker, 2 wheels in front and 2 legs at the back, and they said, here it is, we'll help you. You have to give it a try. You have to push it. There's no other way. So they helped me get up, and it was painful again. No stabbing pain though. It was just painful. General pain. Back, leg. And but more than that, I was just afraid. I was afraid that stabbing pain is only seconds away, and I was so discouraged by this pain, which by that time struck me probably a dozen and so times. And again, it's like a level 10 pain. It's scream. It's that painful. So from there, over the following 25 minutes, I actually ended up walking again, and I was so happy. You can only imagine how happy I was, and I was so thankful to these guys. I said thank you like a million times. I was so excited, the fact that I was able to get out of bed, and I started walking with the walker. Obviously, not on my own, but with a walker. And then I set me on the chair, and I was able to do that. I started stretching a little bit, so. And that worked out. That evening, my doctor finally came in. He actually has an office someplace else outside of the hospital, where he normally does surgeries. So he came in the evening after his shift ended, and then we discussed and talked about the problem. And he explained that most likely what happened is that my nerve, inflamed. It just simply inflamed. There's no one particular reason why that happens. It happens, sometimes, but it did inflame. Normally it does not happen. So, in this video, I don't want to scare you away. I don't want you to think that, this is normal and typical, because it's not. It just happened in my case. It could also be my fault. It could have been my fault. Over the first 4 days, as I explained in my videos, I felt great. I felt so good. It felt so good that pain was no longer there. So I may have pushed it too hard. I should have been careful, and rather than laying in bed for extended period of time over those 4 days, I should have spent more time standing and walking slowly. One thing I need to stress out, and I need to make very, very clear to you guys, for those of you who are interested in considering this surgery, is that once you have the surgery, you do not want to twist. No twisting whatsoever. You cannot twist left or right. So that's a big killer, and that could actually be the reason why it happened in my case. I may have twisted left and right a few times without realizing what could happen, because I was feeling so good, and my recovery was going so good. So that night my COVID results came in around 9:30, and finally they admitted me to the hospital upstairs, and I spent the next day inside of the hospital. Actually, I stayed until about 2:00 afternoon. In between, 2 physical therapists came in, and they helped me further do some exercises, and helped me, just basically gave me, encouraged me to start moving again, and don't stop, just keep moving and keep going. So today being the day 14, I'm happy to let you know that I have not had any of those stabbing pains since I got up that night in the hospital. I have been taking it very, very, very slowly. I have been using a walker all since I got back from the hospital. They provided me a walker, and that's something that I think they should have provided right away, because if I had had one of those walkers at the beginning, I probably would have been much more careful in the beginning when I get up in the morning. You definitely need one. So that's another recommendation I'd like to just point out. Make sure you either get one from the hospital, or you buy your own. You get yourself a walker, so that you can use something when you get out of bed in the morning. You definitely need one. You need one because your body is going to be stiff, you're going to be laying in the same spot, for many hours. And when you get up in the morning, you definitely may need a walker. So again, it has been a few days since I got out of hospital. Today is Wednesday, 14 days after my surgery. And again, I'm feeling good, no more pain. I don't feel any pain. I have taken the remainder of those tablets, the anti-inflammatory steroids. I have also been taking some muscle relaxers before I go to bed to help me fall asleep and sleep and relax. And I haven't had any problem sleeping. Surprisingly, I try to stay on my back. I have a relatively comfortable bed, so I try to lay on my back, and that's how I lay. That seems to be the most comfortable position for me, and I sleep pretty good. The only thing that I am extra careful is every time I get out of bed in the morning, I definitely first very carefully stretch my legs, bring them, bend my knees on both my legs, check this, make sure that there's no stabbing pain anywhere, and then carefully, I do a log roll around on the side of the bed, grab my walker, and then stand on my walker for a few seconds, make sure that there's nothing there that could cause additional pain. So this week, as of Monday, I began my physical therapies. Monday was the first day, and they gave me some exercises which I have been doing 3 times a day. Today was my second visit to the physical therapist, and then finally tomorrow I have another visit. My doctor, it's a follow-up visit with my doctor, where he's going to be removing my stitches, or I should say staples. I have staples rather than stitches, so those will be removed tomorrow. So going forward, I suppose it's going to take some time before I fully recover. It will, I'm going to have to take it slowly. It's probably going to take another few weeks before I can give you good news that I have been fully recovered, that I can do things that I was not able to do before. And so just stay tuned. I'll have more videos coming up, and I will talk to you soon.